Today for math, we will be doing lesson 82. You will need your textbook and workbook, along with a pencil and some extra paper just in case. Open your workbook to lesson 82 and find part 1. There are going to be 5 problems on that part 1 for you. So let's start with, if you multiply by 10 to the first, 10 to the first, multiply, how many places do you move the decimal point? 1, because there is a 1 right here. If you multiply by 10 to the third, so any number with a decimal, times 10 to the third, that means you're going to be moving the decimal 3 places because there's a 3. Move decimal 1. Move decimal 3. Because of the exponent. Read problem A. 1 and 52 thousandths times 10 to the second. So our first problem is 1 and 52 thousandths times 10 to the second. So how many places do we need to move the decimal? 2, because there is a 2 in the exponent for 10 to the power of 2. So this decimal needs to be moved 2 places. So our answer is going to be 105 and 2/10. Problem B. Problem B is 42 hundredths times 10 to the third. So we have 42 hundredths times 10 to the third. How many places do I need to move the decimal? 3, because there's a 3. So I'm going to move this 1, 2, and 3. Notice there's not a number here. So my new answer is going to be 420 because the decimal got moved to right here. When I moved it over, if there's nothing there, you need a placeholder with a 0. All right, problem C. Two thousandths times 10 to the second. How many places am I moving the decimal to the right? 2, because it's to the power of 2. So this is going to be 1 and 2. My new number? 2/10. You have 2 more problems on that worksheet, on that part, D and E. You're going to be doing those on your own. All right, so now we can move on to fraction operations. Find part 2 in your workbook. Problem A, the only problem, says 2 divided by 1/4 equals blank, which equals blank. There's also 2 circles in your problem. You need to put in how many parts. So you're going to divide 2 by 1/4. Do that on your own. So 2 divided by 1/4, what's the answer? 8. 8 parts. So you know this is going to be in fourths. How many fourths are in these circles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 parts. The rest I want you to do on your own. All right, open your textbook to lesson 82 and find part 1. Pause the video now to get there. Resume when you're ready. All right, textbook part 1. You have problem A and B. I will read problem A for you. Problem A, Tom picked 13 2/5 pounds of apples. Al picked 7 2/5 pounds of apples. How many pounds of apples did the men have together? Work the problem. Show the answer as a mixed number with a unit name. So, let's write this out. Tom had 13 2/5 apples. Al had 7 2/5. The key to this equation is how many pounds of apples did the men have together? Our key word is together, meaning we're going to add. Now remember, when you add fractions, the denominator stays the same. So I know this is going to be in fifths. 2 plus 2 is 4. 7, 8, 9, 10, 0, carry the 1, and 20. So together they had 20 4/5 apples. Make sure you're labeling your answer. Problem B. The dog weighed 18 11/16 pounds. The dog lost 2 10/6 pounds. How much did the dog weigh then? So again, the dog weighed 18 11/16 pounds. The dog lost 2 10/16 pounds. Keyword in there, lost. We're taking away 2 10/16 pounds from 18 11/16 pounds. So this is going to be a subtraction equation. So, working this problem, I know that when I'm adding or subtracting fractions, as I said before, the denominator stays the same. Now I can do 11 minus 10. What is 11 minus 10? 1. And 18 minus 2. 18, 17, and 16. And I need to make sure I label my answer. Pounds. So the dog now weighs 10 1/16 of a pound. All right, we're going to switch gears into averages and temperature tables. So, we're going to learn about averages. So, let me get this set up. The numbers show the highest temperature for 4 days. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Here's a table. The numbers show the highest temperature for 4 days. So for each of those days, we have 26 degrees for Monday, 40 degrees for Tuesday, 38 degrees for Wednesday, and 32 degrees for Thursday. So, Our question that we want to ask is, what is the average temperature for these 4 days? What is the average, that's what we're learning about, temperature for these 4 days? Here's the question again. What is the average temperature for these 4 days? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have 26 degrees, 40 degrees, 38 degrees, and 32 degrees. Here's how you find the average. You add the numbers and divide by 4. Again, you want to add these numbers together and divide them by 4. You're dividing by 4 because there is 4 numbers that you're adding together. So when I add up 26, 40, 38, and 32, I know that this together is 66. This together is 0, 1, 6, and 7. Adding these two numbers together is 6 and that. So I have 136. Now I need to divide that number by 4 because there's 4 days or 4 numbers that I added together. So 136 divided by 4. 4 can't go into 1, but 4 can go into 13 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. Subtract that. I have 1. Bring down the 6. And 16 divided by 4 is 4. So I know my average is going to be 34 degrees. Don't forget to label that because we're working with degrees or the temperature. So the average of 26, 40, 38, and 32 is 34 degrees. Because 26 plus 40 plus 38 and plus 32 is 136. Divide that by 4, the numbers that I've added up together, and you get 34. So if the temperature was the same on all days, what would the temperature be? Now, think of that again. If all of these said 34, what would the average be? 34. It's the same. So I'm going to add one more day here. I've ran out of room, so I'll put it here. Friday. Friday had 24 degrees as its max. So now I need to re-add up my numbers. I already have 136 when I had these 4, so I can take 136 and add one more to it. 136, because that was adding up these 4, and now I can just add 24 to it. My extra day. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. 160, but now I need to divide it by 5. Let me hold that up correctly for you. 5. Because there's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So I need to take that 160 and divide it by 5. Why 5? There's 5 days. Why 160? Because I added this and this and this and this and this together. So 5 can go into 16 3 times. Because 3 times 5 is 15. Minus, bring down the 0. 5 can go into 10 2 times. So my average temperature now for these 5 days is 30 degrees. 32 degrees, sorry. All right. So I'm going to do a new setup. So instead of 4 days, now we're just going to start with 3. So the average temperature for Saturday, Sunday, Monday. is 53 degrees, 57 degrees, whoops, and 46 degrees. So, what do I need to do first? Add up these three numbers. 53, 57, then I'll add 46 when I'm done. 7, 8, 9, 10, 0, 1, 10, 11, plus 46, 6, 5, 1, 156. Now what am I going to divide this by? 3, because there's 3 days. So 156 divided by 3. 3 can go into 15 5 times, and 3 can go into 6 2 times. So I know the average temperature for these 3 days is 52 degrees. All right, now I'm going to add a 4th day to this. Let's throw in Tuesday. What was Tuesday's degrees? 56. That's a scorcher. All right, so now I know I can just add 56 to this number, because that was my total for 3 days. Now I have 4. I'm going to erase that. So 12, 1, 10, 11, 2. 212. And what am I going to divide that by? Think about it. 4. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 days in all that created the number 212. So divide that by 4. All right. So, I want you to solve that on your own and figure out what that would be. All right. To check your answer, 4 goes into 21 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. 1, bring down the 2. 4 goes into 12 3 times. My average for those 4 days is 53 degrees. All right, next we're going to go into fractions as mixed numbers. Something that we've gone over before. All right, fractions as mixed numbers. So find part 2 in your textbook. You're going to have 5 numbers there. 9 and 27/20ths. 15 and 17/20ths. 2 and 13/10ths. 1 and 19/13ths. And 19, we'll put this down here, and 7/5. So, these mixed numbers have a fraction that is more than 1. Notice they're all top-heavy fractions, each one. When I say top-heavy, I mean it's heavier or bigger than the number of the denominator. The numerator is bigger than the denominator. The numerator is bigger than the denominator. Same here, and same here. So, these mixed numbers have a fraction that is more than 1. You're going to copy the mixed numbers and rewrite them so they have a fraction that is less than 1. So what's going to happen is you're going to turn this into 1 and a new fraction because there's leftovers. So 9 and 27/20ths. We know that 27/20ths can be 1 and some leftovers. What's 27 minus 20? 7, and our denominator stays the same. So now I know I can do 9 plus 1 equals 10 and 7/20ths. Up next, 15 and 17/20ths. I know 17, so this should have been 12. My bad. So we have 17/12. I know that 17 is greater than 12, but I want to turn that like I did here. So what's 17 minus 12? 5. So I know that this can be broken into 1 and 5/12. Now I can add it together. So that's going to be 16 and 5/12. Think of these as all of these as addition problems. You're adding them together right in there. So I know that this is going to be turned into 1 and 3/10. So now I'm going to add 2 plus 1 equals 3, and what's my leftovers? 3/10. The easiest way to do this is subtracting the numerator from the denominator to get your new numerator. Your denominator will always stay the same. I want you to do this one and this one on your own. Pause the video now to work on it. All right, let's review the answers. So we know 19 minus 13 is 6/13 and 1. So this is going to be 2 and 6/13. And this is going to be 1 and 2/5. So the answer is going to be 20 and 2/5. All right. So let's move on. I'm going to set this up. We're going to work on sentences or parts of a group. 2/3 of the students are girls. Here's my sentence. 2/3 of the students are girls. If 2/3 of the students are girls, what is the fraction for boys? 1/3. 2/3 and 1/3 equals 3/3. That's the fraction for all the students. I'll repeat that. If 2/3 of the students are girls, 2/3 of the students are girls. 2/3. Gee, I want to know how many thirds is it going to take to know the boys, so I know all students, which is going to be out of 3. How do I turn this into a whole fraction? 3/3 is what I want, because I'm saying 2/3 of the students are girls. I have 3/3 in all, so all I need to do is subtract 3 minus 2, so I know I have 1/3 boys. Adding that together, box that in. Here's the next one. 3/8 of the trees had leaves. 3/8 of the trees had leaves. So, if 3/8 of the trees had leaves, what's the fraction for trees that did not have leaves? So I know 3/8 of them did. There's 8/8 in all trees. Oops. So 8 minus 3, 5. 5/8 of the trees did not, that's what we're solving for, have leaves. All right. I'm going to put up 2 more for you. We'll do the next one together. One night, of the pencils were red. One ninth. So I know my denominator needs to stay the same because I want 9 out of 9 pencils. So I need to figure out how many were not red. Not red pencils. So I know 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 over what? Over 9. The denominator needs to stay the same. So I know I have 8 9ths of the pencils were not red. Last one. I'm going to give this on the board. I'm not going to post the answer. But to know that you're following along, I want you to comment this or message it to me on either our Teams page or on Class Dojo. That'll be your participation for today. So 8/10 of the trees had leaves. 8/10 of the trees had leaves. So you're going to tell me how many did not. Because remember, this should be 10 over 10 trees. So, message this to me on Class Dojo. That'll be your credit for the day for classwork. Now, find part 3 in your textbook. So, there are 3 parts to this, A, B, and C. Sentence A. Sentence A says 4/5 the glasses were dirty. So this is A. Part 3 textbook. So we have 4/5 of the glasses were dirty. So what's the fraction for all the glasses and what's the fraction for clean glasses? So I know I need to have a fraction here that'll be fifths. Adding that together, I'm going to have 5 out of 5. So I know all glasses, it goes down here because my denominator is going to stay the same every time because otherwise you can't add or subtract them. So if I have 4 out of my 5 here, I'm going to have 1 out of 5 here because it's what's left over. So we're clean. Glasses. That's how you need to solve this. So, part B, 11/5 of the bricks were stacked. B, I'll move this over here and leave that up. (11/15) of the bricks were stacked. Of the bricks were stacked. Line here, so we have all bricks and not stacked bricks. So I know my denominator is 15, so it's going to be 15 for all of these, and I know this has to equal 1 whole, so it's going to be 15 over 15. So, what's left over of 15 minus 11? 4. 4 bricks out of the 15 were not stacked. All right. Part C is 3/8 of the horses were for sale. I'll erase this one. Three-eighths of the horses were for sale. How many would I have in all? 8 out of 8. Horses in all. What's left? How many were not for sale? Not for sale horses. Not, because these are for sale and not for sale. Simply put, 8 minus 3, 5. 5 what? 5 eighths, because the denominator has to stay the same. All right, so that concludes today's lesson. The rest is going to be independent work. And your independent work today. So, independent work. Lesson 82, math, textbook, parts 4 through 9, and workbook, parts 3 through 5. If you have any questions, first try rewatching the video. If not, message me and I'd be happy to help you walk you through these problems. This is going to be due in 24 hours, so by the time this gets posted in the morning, it's due that next day at the same time. So again, rewatch the video if you have questions, reach out to me otherwise. Take care and enjoy math.